In the past, Native American cultures have viewed women and men's roles in society as having equal responsibilities. The elders of the community are supposed to hold a high place because they are the most knowledgeable. These are the people that pass down stories that guide cultures. My question is, if women are supposed to be valued and respected as much as men, and given the task of continuing the stories of further generations, why are so many being violated and harmed on their own land where people share the same values? Nowadays, more than 4 in 5 American Indian and Alaskan Native women have experienced violence, and more than 1 in 2 have experienced sexual violence, according to IndianLaw.org. In an article published by the New York Times, on some reservations, women are 10 times as likely to be murdered as the national average. What caused this abuse is that tribal, state, and federal justice systems have to decide who is going to handle these cases, and the communication is not there. Complex and very complicated matters such as these go through all of these systems, and a lot of them are forgotten and dropped. The 3 factors that determine how to go about these crimes are whether the victim is a member of the federally recognized tribe or not, whether the accused is a member of a federally recognized tribe or not, and if the offense took place on tribal land. In fact, the Census Bureau reports that non-Indians comprise 76% of the population on tribal lands, making things very complicated. If these people are tracked down and taken to court, it can go one of 3 ways. Because each has different sentences for these crimes, tribal courts are only allowed to give a sentence of 3 years maximum for rape, where state can be up to 8 years and federal can be up to 12 years for the same exact crime. However, tribal courts used to only be allowed to give 1 year prison sentence, but a newer law called the Tribal Law and Order Act is improved to 3 years. Funding is a big issue for tribal governments. This is why so many people are getting involved, trying to pass more laws and starting organizations to take more steps in the right direction. People are striving to help. These people are Lisa Murkowski, Catherine Cortez Masto, and John Tesser, to name a few. They passed a bipartisan bill called the Not Invisible Act of 2019. It strives to create better communication between law enforcement and tribal officials in hopes that response times and proper punishment will improve. They did this by instituting a committee that would be composed of the 3 main governments, local or state, tribal, and federal, who will all look over the cases and at the same time and offer advice to the Department of Justice on how they all collectively believe that the case should be handled. People have started to get involved in their communities by helping out at organizations for this cause. One of these projects, for instance, is Safe Women Strong Nations. It strives to improve laws while also offering legal advice for women, and it focuses on strengthening the ability of Indian nations to effectively police their lands. This includes investigation, prosecution, and punishment for those who commit violence against Native American women. These organizations will hopefully address the fact that Native children exposed to violence suffer rates of PTSD 3 times higher than the rest of the general population, according to IndianLaw.org. PTSD is where these kids can relive the trauma over and over again, making them feel scared and weak. This is no way to grow up, and it is tragic to see such a strong community built off of foundational oral stories of warriors and leaders turn fearful. It is good to see so many people getting involved in the fight because it shows that they still love where they came from and their culture, and they won't stand for this behavior on their land. They want to save their reputation and create a bonded community and unified community that their ancestors cherished so much. Violence and abuse takes away people's voices. The world needs to hear more voices of Native American people so that we can understand more about their lives and traditions that they come from. If all we are hearing about is this issue on their land, more dangerous stereotypes will begin to appear. Once this issue is addressed and more people get involved, the community will be able to flourish again, and hopefully from the unification of the three government systems on this issue, we will have better communications and strengthen our bonds.